So despite all the challenges we have in California, we actually know how to do it right. And surprisingly, our workforce, visa holders from other countries, workforce, undocumented workers from around the world that actually harvest their crops. Manufacturing, we are the top manufacturer in the United States in terms of state. A lot of undocumented workers there. So California, we actually can manage pretty well. The best managed state, I would argue, in the union. So Mr. Reed, I'm gonna ask you, given your association with these small firms, how is the DMA affecting our California firms as they try to grow in the European Union?
The ex-ante regulation creates barriers of entry.
What do you mean by ex-ante? Explain that to me.
In simple terms, it means that the European Union is determining the behavior before the bad act has happened. It's before it happens.
So they're fining before the actual behavior?
They're not just even fining, they're setting the rules by which you could be fined. The best way to think about it is they're saying, "Mother, may I?" If you remember the game Mother, May I, they are asking companies to go forth and say, "Can we do this?" And then the commission says, "Well, yes, you can," or "Yes, you cannot." We traditionally in the United States have taken an ex post, meaning, did you deceive someone? Did you lie? Did you cheat? Did you steal? And then you're punished. Unfortunately, the EU is taking a Mother, May I approach rather than a punishment approach. And that harms California businesses because it makes it a lot harder to get in the door.
Mr. Price, you're from Irvine.
Sorry.
Yes? Mr. Price?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about
Irvine.
California firms and how the DMA.
Okay.
Well, Irvine, by the way, a lot of biotech, high tech.
I think you might be referring to Professor Kay.
Mr. K. I'm sorry, go ahead. Mr. K, Irvine.
Yes. Yes, I teach at the University of California at Irvine. I actually wanted to respond to two of the points that you're making, in part because...
You got about 20 seconds. Go.
Thank you. In part because this hearing is entitled as one dealing with censorship, and we're spending quite a bit of time talking about defending companies. And two things I just wanted to mention. One is the DMA doesn't specifically discriminate against American companies any more than it does against California companies. And the second is that I think it's important to think about the other
Mr. Price, what would you say to that?
In relation to discrimination,
yes,
they've designed the rules in such a way that they almost perfectly encompass American companies, particularly under the DSA. So if you're setting the rules and they just happen to throw a net over a particular target group, I think you can legitimately infer from that that was the intention.
The intention was discrimination?
The intention is to throw a dragnet over U.S. companies and turn them into a...
The intention is discrimination against American firms.
That's precisely what the outcome is.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And before I yield, I also have some articles I'd like to submit for the record, sure, if I may.
Yep.
Letter by Chairman Fitzgerald and myself to President Trump, dated April 9th of this year, outlining our concerns with the Digital Marketing Act. Second, report by European Commission, dated September 24th, the future of European competitiveness, which is failing to translate into innovation. Third article, statement by the Chamber of Progress, dated February 10th, how Digital Markets Act has become Europeans' digital curtain. Number 4, article by the Information and Technology Foundation, dated June 30th, 6 ways the DMA is backfiring on Europe. 5th, article Washington Examiner, July 28th, EU regulations impose heavy costs on US companies. Finally, article in the journal, Wall Street, the tech industry is huge and Europe's share of it is very small. Thank you, sir.
Without objection, thank you. Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Texas, recognized.
Thank the chairman. I thank you for holding this hearing. I thank the witnesses. Mr. Price, you referenced Päivi Räsänen earlier, correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you just real quick, in like 30 seconds, give the quick summary of what the facts are behind that issue with respect to why she is facing prosecution despite having served in Parliament and I believe as a minister in the government?
That's correct, sir. Over 5 years ago, she posted a tweet with a verse from Scripture, and in that tweet, she objected to her church, the Finnish Evangelical Lutheran Church, using church funds to fund the Helsinki Pride Parade. And for that, then, criminal proceedings were launched against her.
And she's been dealing with that for 4 to 5 years, correct?
That's correct, sir. Her case is before the Supreme Court at the end of October.
Facing jail time.
Facing significant fines.
And for having expressed her faith with respect to issues involving marriage in the context of a Bible verse, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And so now we've got, as the chairman illuminated a moment ago, we've got this issue involving Graham Linehan, who here in the United States made a joke and then is arrested in the UK, correct?
Yes, he's being arrested, or he was arrested for comments that he posted while here.
And that's correct, Mr. Farage, you agree?
It is.
And that joke had something to do with, as I've looked it up, trans-identified males and female-only space, and he made some joke about that issue.
That's exactly right.
And so we've got now someone being arrested for alleged transphobia or some sort of hate comment involving a joke on another continent. Now, in the meantime, we've had Mr. Farage talking about Lucy Connolly, right? And her fate, which I understand she got sentenced something like 31 or 32 months for having put out a social media post. Now, that social media post has been alleged to have tied to some incitement. She deleted the post, but the post was in response to violence, right? And on the heels of a whole lot of issues involving crime in the UK. Whatever the connection is, right, we're saying there is crime in the UK. Now, here's my question, Mr. Farage. How do you feel from the standpoint of borders in the UK? Are open borders healthy for either the United States or the UK?
No, they're disastrous.
And are they having a deleterious effect with respect to crime and culture in the UK?
Yes, they are. It's been a debate that's been very difficult to have without being screamed at, but we are now having that debate.
And so now we've got a moment here where we've got someone being put in jail for putting out something in social media that is allegedly transphobic. And so my question is, I wonder what's going to win out? What's going to win out when the questions of Islamophobia and the tenets of Islam mash up against transphobia? What will the determiners of truth in the UK government decide? What will those who make decisions about what we can say and what we cannot say do when these worlds collide? Would you have any comment on that, Mr. Farage?
In the Lucy Connolly case, it's very interesting that this horrific murder of 3 young girls happened. The country was in very deep shock, very deep shock. The government deliberately withheld the truth about who the perpetrator was. And it led to a sea of speculation. It turned out ultimately that the man that committed those murders was in fact UK born, had not come over on a boat, as was being said on social media. Just goes to show that actually, however bad the news is, people deserve to know the truth about a situation. It stops that frenzy of speculation. Who's going to win these great battles? I think that there is a growing, silent majority, certainly in my country, who object to the 2-tier concept that, you know, Lucy Connolly gets 31. And by the way, there were mitigating circumstances for what she said with her own personal situation, but she's arrested very quickly. She's threatened that if she pleads not guilty, she'll go straight to prison and be on remand until the trial, and goodness knows when. We're not defending what she said, but she recognized her error, you know, in a moment of anger and passion and upset, and she withdrew it 3.5 hours later. I think that the answer, Mr. Roy, is that the silent majority will win. The silent majority will win, good will triumph over bad, and common sense will be returned. It won't happen quickly. It won't happen quickly. As I've already outlined, there is coming down the tracks an Islamophobia law, which would divide speech even more widely than it is now. But in the end, common sense, decency will win.
Is Sharia law consistent with Western values?
No.
Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Farage, thanks for being here, coming across the pond. I'm sorry to hear you're leaving the hearing early.
Well, it's not a question of leaving the hearing early, but I do have other things to do. Yes.
Oh, where are you going?
I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. Where are you going?
It's not lunch, I promise you.
It's not lunch. You're not going to have lunch.
I don't think so, no.
No lunch.
Sad, isn't it?
You're meeting with the president?
I can't remember what the schedule is. It's possible.
You can't remember if you're meeting with the president.
I'm being very polite, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing this afternoon, but I can assure you that...
But there's the free speech hearing. You're not going to tell me what you're doing this afternoon?
Free speech is one thing, discretion's quite another, too.
Okay. All right, so you're leaving to have lunch with the president. So, Mr. Farage, I have a question. Have you heard about the Epstein thing that's going on here?
I have.
You have. What do you think about it?
I'm not going to give comment on anything happening in America. I'm here as a witness.
Perfect.
I'm here as a witness.
I'm
here as a witness for what is happening in the United Kingdom and in the European
Perfect.
continent.
Let me just go through it. So it's been 9 months, right, since we've been meeting in these hearings. We've not had Pam Bondi here, even though we have jurisdiction over the Department of Justice, not Dan Bungie.
The gentleman yield?
Not Kash Patel. I will 100%. We'll go back and forth. Let me just do my thing.
Okay.
And
Well, I'm just going to correct. Kash Patel's coming in I'll give you an extra 10 seconds. Kash Patel, the director of FBI, is coming in 2 weeks, and the Attorney General's coming in 4 weeks.
Fantastic. But still, we're not doing that this week, the week we're having votes on the Epstein thing. So, Pam Bondi gives the influencers, these Republican influencers, a binder. It says Part 1 of the Epstein files. Don't know if you saw it. It was quite spectacular. The Attorney General then says the Epstein list is on her desk. Then DOJ issues a memo, says there is no list. Then, you have any questions about any of that? We've had no hearings on any of that at all. That, the list is on my desk, then there is no list. Then we gave binders to Republican influencers. This committee's had no questions on any of how that transpired at the Department of Justice. Then hold on.
Well, it sounds like you're going to in the next few weeks. So that's a jolly good thing.
Mr. Farage, we can talk soon, but not yet. Okay.
Right.
So then the president comes out and says the whole thing's a hoax. He blasts his own base. He blames Barack Obama. I mean, he hasn't been president for a very long time. Republicans then in committee vote against the release in the Rules Committee. Then Republicans refuse to go back in the Rules Committee because they're getting blasted for their vote, getting crushed by their own base. Congress leaves a day early. Then the administration sends the Deputy Attorney General to meet with Maxwell in jail. He happens to be Trump's former personal attorney. She says something favorable about the president. Miraculously, she gets transferred to a minimum security prison. The president starts talking about how he has the right to pardon her if he wanted to. The leaks to the Wall Street Journal then stop. We come back from break. We have the Massey petition. Comer does a document dump where 97% of these documents are already public. How long has he had those documents? Why hasn't he released them for the last 6 weeks? Does it the day of the vote. Then Republicans drop a non-binding resolution trying to kill the Massey discharge petition. The White House said passing the Massey discharge petition is a hostile act. Wow. That's a lot of distraction and deflection and misinformation. Wait, passing a discharge petition to release the Epstein files, the White House said would be a hostile act. Nope, we have no questions about that. But why? Why is it that we're spending so much political capital to keep this list from coming out? You think the list should come out? You think we should know the people who dealt with Mr. Epstein, Mr. Farage?
I thought I was coming to a hearing on free speech, not process.
Oh, well, listen, but here's the
And
good...
It sounds like you're discussing process.
No. Do you think the list should come out?
I have no opinion on it. I don't know at all.
So we have victims that were sexually abused by potentially people in power, and we don't know who's on the list.
I'm very happy.
Hold on, Mr. Farage. We don't know who's on the list. We don't know who's on the list. We don't know if the president is or is not. I'm not going to say he is or isn't. I'm just going to say these are weird behaviors. We don't know that there aren't other people in Congress that are on the list, right? We have no idea. Do you think the list should come out? You think people in power should be held to account for these victims who have been sexually abused and assaulted? You think the list should come out?
I think that I'm very happy to come to a different hearing where you talk about legal process.
Okay.
But today,
Will the gentleman yield for a quick question?
Were
you aware that he has already called for the Epstein file to be released? It has been reported that he has called for it to be released.
Oh yeah, right here, just to refresh your memory.
Yeah, but
I happen to have this.
But that's not
How random.
But that is not. Look, you can ask me if you like about
Do you agree
social
with
security
yourself?
policy.
Do you agree with yourself?
We are here to discuss free speech.
Hold on. It's awkward for your lunch after this? Do you agree with yourself?
No, it isn't at all.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'm just curious. This committee has jurisdiction over the
Gentleman's
Department of
time.
Justice.
Yeah.
Why have we allowed Comer to cover this up for the last couple of months?
As I said,
why is this committee not
I
taking
said 6 weeks
jurisdiction?
ago that we will have the FBI director in, we will have the attorney general in, and we are doing that in 2 weeks. You can ask you can go through that whole list. That whole list, you can do whatever you want to do with. I got lots of questions for the FBI director, including the whistleblower who came forward and told him that Adam Schiff leaked classified information. I want to ask him about that as well as the issues you all want to ask him about. That's why he's coming, so we can ask all these questions and follow the process, as Mr. Farage just talked about.
Mr.
The
Chairman,
gentleman from Virginia.
unanimous consent.
Unanimous consent?
I'd like to enter the political article into the record that Mr. Farage said the Epstein file should be released.
Without objection. The gentleman from Virginia is recognized.
I thank the chairman. I want to talk about censorship tools that are being used by Europe and protectionist measures that have major consequences for U.S. companies and free expression worldwide. I'm glad to have you all here to get your views on those issues. Mr. Farage, you've called the Online Safety Act a borderline dystopian censorship regime, and many agree, including myself, that the law badly overreaches. One of the most serious criticisms is that it empowers Ofcom to undermine encryption and open the door to not just government